Oi, gente, hoje eu tô aqui com 3 colegas da escola, nós estudamos todos na CEL, a escola que a Ice Group Education me indicou, me recomendou, e cada colega é de um lugar do mundo e nós vamos falar inglês e responder algumas perguntas que vocês fizeram no meu Instagram. E se vocês quiserem ativar as legendas, é só ativar aqui no YouTube, ok? So maybe you could just start talking a little bit about yourself, but don't say where you're from, so let them try to guess.
So, my name is Thomas. I've been here since September and I will stay until August. And I come from a close country.
Nice too. And
Hi, I'm Maren. I'm staying in London only for 6 weeks and just to improve my English. And when I'm back in my country, I'm going to start work as a lawyer.
Hi, I'm Roberto. I've been here for around 7 months, more or less. I came here to improve my English, to find a better job in my future and be better with my life.
so now, Thomas, could you say where you're from, but in your language?
J'habite en France. Je viens de La Rochelle.
So he's from France, and now you, please.
Ich bin Maren, ich bin aus Deutschland und wenn ich zurück bin, wohne ich in Hamburg.
Oh my God.
From Germany.
Yeah. And you?
Soy de Caracas, Venezuela.
So he's from Venezuela, right? Okay, so many people ask me to ask you what you know about Brazil and what comes to your mind when you think about our country.
Okay, for me, I know a little bit from your country because we are near one of each other. The most famous part of Brazil is the football because you are really famous for that, and the carnival as well, and the samba dance.
I heard about a sweet Brazilian thing, the brigadeiros.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, every time I think about Brazil,
Yeah.
I know it sounds silly, but I always think about brigadeiros.
And I already taught you how to make it. Do you remember the recipe?
Yes,
What do you
like
mean?
condensed milk,
Yeah.
chocolate, and little, what's the name, chunk.
Butter. Yeah,
butter
yeah.
and little chocolate chunk.
Yes, that was we had it last week. I was very surprised that there's so many violence or cruelty in Brazil. I was very surprised. I just thought about of beautiful beaches and nice people.
Yeah, it's because she was saying, oh, but it's not violent. You can be stolen, but it's not violent, right? Then I had to say, well, many times it is. So sometimes you're just parking your car and there's a gun in your head.
Yeah, I found some weird things out of your country.
I am not proud of it, but I have to say the truth. So this is the truth. You know, guys, this is the truth. So is your country a safe place? Or is it like Brazil or something like this?
No, not really. My country now is the most dangerous city in the world.
Really?
Yeah, so now Venezuela is not it's really unsafe place, so
Unfortunately, right.
yeah.
In Germany is very safe. You can do everything, even at night, or even if you are a girl or something like that. But I think you have to be a little bit careful if you are from a foreign country.
Okay, and what about France?
Well, in France, in general, it's quite safe, but there are some areas that you cannot go alone at night. For example, if you're a girl, you walk alone in Paris after midnight. It's very dangerous.
I've been to Paris once and I didn't feel so safe.
Yeah.
So I feel safer in
London is definitely safer than Paris.
Yeah, I've never been to Germany, so I have no idea actually. Another very frequent question was about the food you like to eat in your country. So maybe you could start now. What
Yeah.
is the traditional food in
The
Venezuela?
traditional food in Venezuela is arepa. It's the most traditional breakfast.
Excuse me? What's
Arepas.
the arepas?
Yeah, it's a special kind of bread you made, and it's really easy to make. And then it's like in a circle, and then you open, and you can put inside whatever you want.
Okay.
The most famous, or the most I like it for me, is reina pepiada, because it's chicken with avocado and a little bit of mayo, and you mix all together and you put inside of the arepa. It's amazing.
And what about you?
Oh, in Germany, we have a lot of our vegetarian meals are very raising in Germany, I think sometimes. But we eat a lot of things ground up in the earth. I don't know the name.
Vegetables or something like this?
Yeah, vegetables. It's like sauerkraut. I don't know. There's no translation. I checked it up already.
I have no idea.
And a lot of some meat in the Bavarian area. And
what about the sausages?
yeah,
Isn't it
some
traditional?
sausages. Yeah, but I think our tradition is a little bit difficult to explain.
And what about beer?
Yeah, we are very famous for our beer, and I think we make the best one.
Maybe.
Maybe,
No, I have
maybe.
to try. And what about France?
Well, in France we have like a good bread, of course, like the baguette. We also have something very particular in France, like the foie gras. Do you know foie gras?
No.
It's like
I know, I got it. I don't have the same pronunciation.
yeah,
But
foie gras.
explain.
And it's made of duck, or sometimes from Turkey, but usually it's from duck. It's very good, very good. It's quite expensive and more luxurious product, but we usually eat it like, for example, at Christmas or special occasions.
People are also curious about how you learned English in your country, or did you come here and learn? Talk about it.
Well, I learned a little bit in my country because in the school they teach us a little bit, but they teach in a bad way because they teach in Spanish, so it's not a good way to
But
learn.
in regular schools, like high
Yeah.
school, not
Yeah,
language
yeah.
school.
No, in high school. But it's not a good way to explain English in other language.
And how often do you have a class?
3 times per week, but I think I learn a lot because in my country it's really normal. If you watch a film, it's always in English with subtitles, so that's help a lot.
Yeah, I think in Germany you have got today you learn it from primary school, and yes, everybody expects you to speak English in Germany, and the most of the people are very good in this. And I need this, for example, for my job and
As a lawyer, right?
as a lawyer, and to talk to clients and something like that.
But how did you learn? In a language school or in high school and regular school?
Yeah, in the regular school.
Well, in France, French people don't really speak English good because we had like the lessons in English are not actually in English. Like we speak French in English lessons, and yeah, we don't have very good teachers to be honest. But if you're really interested in English, you can watch movies, you can download series in English. You can also read English books, and I think it's the best way.
And French people don't like speaking English very much to tourists, right?
They don't like, and there is a very bad thing that French people used to do. For example, if you go in Paris, you need a pharmacy to save something like this.
Okay.
They can't speak English.
Yeah.
Like you have to speak French with them.
I know, Brazil is the same.
It's crazy. Yes, but in Paris, it's supposed to be like one of the most touristic places in the world.
I know.
So they're supposed to speak English, but they don't.
So in Portuguese, we have some difficulties with some English sounds. For example, the TH sound for us, we have to learn this, like this, that, and also the vowels. So what's the difference, a difficult sound for you as a Spanish speaker?
Sounds for me was difficult because I get used to the United States accent,
Me too.
and the accent here is quite different, and they contract the words. So in the beginning, I not get used to that, but with the time you get used to that, and you start to hear normal conversation like normal speaking.
Okay.
I think understanding this, the pronunciation here is something a little bit hard for me. It's easier really to understand the American people.
I think it's because we are more used to it, right?
Yeah, maybe,
Listening to music.
Yeah, for me, it was the or, because in French we don't say the or like the same way as other people. For example, we would say dictionary in English. In French, like dictionnaire, which is very like our R is very strange. So
Not strange.
yeah,
It's just your R.
I just have to learn a different way to say the R.
Okay.
You know?
And have you ever had any difficulty or misunderstanding because of the language here?
Yeah, at the beginning, yes, but you try to make explanation with your hands or point something, and the people here try to help you a lot.
Yeah, they do. And you, Marvin? Some situation that you can remember?
No, I don't know.
You were talking to me about asking questions you always have to think a lot.
Yeah, also, sometimes it's difficult for me to, you're right, to form questions in English, because the order in the sentence order in Germany is completely different, and that is sometimes hard for me.
Yeah, it's the same. Like the grammar in French is completely different than English, so you have to think like in an English way, not in French way, because if you think in French way, like you will say your question in English, like it's a very bad grammar. So you have to get used to the English grammar, which is quite difficult.
Yeah, but do you remember a specific situation?
Yeah, I remember the first time when I arrived there, my bike was stolen. So,
really?
Yes.
In London?
So I had to call the police, and they came at my flat, and I talked with them. And actually I was really struggling to explain them what happened, like to tell them it was at this area, at this time, this kind of stuff. So I was like, and at the end they understood, but yeah, it was quite hard to.
And so a final message to Brazilian people, something like that?
So I'm gonna make you learn some French words.
Okay.
So bonjour is like hello.
Okay.
And au revoir is like goodbye. And hello, my name is Thomas is like bonjour, je m'appelle Thomas.
Again, how do you say hi, how are you?
Bonjour, comment vas-tu?
Thank you, Thomas.
Welcome.
Yeah, my message is, maybe you can think of planning a trip to London and see the city, and maybe the sea as well. It's not far from here. And I have to say tschüss.
What?
Tschüss.
Tschüss is bye?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Well, I hope this video can help you for learn a little bit of English or get to know more about the language. And goodbye. Hasta luego.
Hasta luego. Oh, thank you very much, guys. It was very nice because they are having the opportunity to listen to different accents and to different stories, to different cultural aspects about your country. So thank you so much for having accepted being in this video.
You're welcome.
I hope you liked this video, and if you like this video, don't forget to hit like and subscribe to my channel, okay? So see you next video, and bye.
Bye.